without much ado, let me just get started with what we have as agenda for you today. As I said, I have a bunch of GMAT questions for you, right? So we'll also be solving questions. But I'm going to be looking at some fundamental aspects, such as is GMAT a test of knowledge or application, right? We will look at what actually gets tested on the GMAT. We will see how a lot of what GMAT looks at is really real life skills. And we will see how preparing for the GMAT is more than just solving questions, right? It's much more than just solving questions. So let's have a look at it. And I'm also going to be giving you a specific study plan that you would be able to follow, right? So a kind of a 10-week study plan so that you can get a sense of what would it typically take for someone to prepare for the GMAT, right? So my assumption over here is that most of you are relatively new to the GMAT. So on a scale of 1 to 10, if you can just let me know in the chat window, where do you think you are in terms of your prep? So I'm just going to, and you know, any number, right? Like where you are in the prep. Like if you have not started, you can maybe chat in like 1 or 2. Okay, so we got people ranging from 3 to 7. By the way, a lot of you picking only panelists. So anyone who's a crackable student, this session may not be useful because we are already, so all of the questions that we are going to cover in the webinar today are questions we cover in the class. Okay, so these are all covered in the course in the class, but I just wanted to take non-students through some motions of what we teach. Okay, so I got a good sense. So what I'm going to do is let me start off by the first question, right? Is GMAT a test of knowledge, or is it, let me give you another word for it, or is it a kind of a skill that I can develop? What do you think? Is it knowledge or is it a particular skill? It's a skill, okay? It's a skill to develop. So, you know, I want to kind of, you know, show something, right? That, so Aditya actually has a more, you know, this, he does both, right? Skills to implement knowledge, correct? Skills to implement knowledge. So what happens is on the GMAT, right? And this is the interesting part, that on the GMAT, if you actually look at it, the amount of knowledge that is tested is fairly low. What if I were to tell you that there are only specific ways in which GMAT can test you? And think of it as a rule book. So the people who are actually creating the test have a rule book. Okay, we don't have access to that rule book, but that rule book will define what can be tested and how it can be tested. Correct? And there is a reason why this happens, and I will explain that reason a little later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a question first. Okay, so this is a sentence correction question. So I would like you to answer this in about 90 seconds, right? So let's take this question. So I'm going to be getting to this. I'll get to this, but let me just go to this. So you are able to see the poll window. So you can go ahead and maybe solve this question. Okay, guys, on the GMAT, that is roughly the time that you would have to solve such a question. Okay. So I'm going to be ending the poll because this is how long you actually can take on the GMAT. So those who are not sure of the answer, please go ahead and still hazard a guess, please. Because it's almost 2 minutes. So on the GMAT, the other thing that you need to do is develop your speed in solving questions, right? Okay, so still 30% of you undecided. So I'm going to be ending the poll. So slightly skewed results because the only people who answered are the people who are certain about the answer. The answer is indeed E for echo, correct? And the point that I wanted to make over here is that let us say you look at this, which is as many as 40,000, okay? As many as 40,000, correct? As many as 40,000. And over here, it says much or more than 40,000. You see this? Much or more than 40,000. First of all, as many as 40,000, not as much as 40,000. Secondly, the structure which says much or more than, correct, is considered redundant on the GMAT. Why? Because you have something as simple as many as, correct? So if I were to use that logic, C and D go off, right? And between answer option A and B, right, have provided evidence, correct? So now look at this, evidence of something. What will this something be? This something will have to be a noun. Evidence that something has to be a clause. What is a clause? A clause is, you can think of it as a sentence. It has a subject and a verb, right? For example, I could say that the they found the evidence of the murder. Okay, sorry. Okay, but if I say they found the evidence, now I use the same thing, but instead of saying of, I say they found the evidence that. Now, the moment I have the word that, after of, I have a noun. After that, I need to have a clause, which will be that the butler committed the murder, for example. Okay. So once you learn, let's say these are two patterns, correct, that you learn. So we know that it is not evidence of the earth. Evidence of earth means we did not know earth existed and they found evidence that there was something called earth. That is the meaning of evidence of earth. But rather, they found evidence that the earth was bombarded by such and such. Okay. Now, these are just two rules that you needed to know in order to solve this question. Correct? So now what I'm going to do is let me give you one more question. So let's have a look at this one. This time I'm going to be ending the poll in 60 seconds, guys. So let's do this. Last 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and over. Okay. So in this question, how many of you were able to spot something from the previous question? Did you see this? Were you able to notice this? That's all. Answer option A, B, and E goes off because at least as large is shorter and clearer, right? You don't need to say as large or larger. At least as large is simpler. For that reason, you could use it. Now, this is not a rule that I'm trying to say that, may appear on the GMAT often, but if it does appear, you know that GMAT is following a very standard practice. Now, I will tell you one more rule, correct? Whenever you have which, it will always modify the immediately preceding noun. Okay? Whenever I have this, and this is all, as we, it comes into some amount of details, but I will just give you some simple example to explain this. Circling will modify the entire preceding clause. So let me give you an example. I drove fast, ensuring I reach on time. So what happens over here is when I have ensuring I reach on time, this structure ends up modifying the entire preceding clause. Okay. Whereas in the case of which, so that is why it is a adverb. Correct. Whereas this which is an adjective. For example, I drove the car, comma, which I bought last year. Now, what happens over here is which ends up modifying the word car. Correct? So I will get to that, Aditya, but I'm just trying to look at it from a perspective of, so is it Jupiter that circles other stars? No, right? And even if it is Jupiter, it should be which circles, correct? Not circle. So that would have also been a problem. Okay. And more importantly, okay, what we are trying to do is we are trying to modify this main clause. What is the main clause? Astronomers have detected more than 80 massive planets. What are the planets doing? They are circling other stars. So the question I'm trying to put over here is, if you look at it, GMAT, we have learned 4 rules today, correct? Let me give you another fifth rule. Most and mostly. You see that? What happens with most is I ate most of the toffees. Correct? What did I eat? Most of the toffees. Adjective. I mostly ate toffees. I don't know, since morning. Correct? In this case, it means you're modifying what you ate. Correct? What is it that we want to modify here? 80 massive planets. When we describe these planets, we say most of them, not mostly. So what I'm trying to explain over here is, if you have understood these rules and if you looked at all the questions that I solved, I just used basic rules to solve questions. So one thing that happens is GMAT is a fairly standardized test, correct? It's a fairly standardized test. You are going to get AWA, you are going to get IR, you are going to get 31 questions in quant that you are expected to solve in 62 minutes. There are 36 questions in verbal. You are expected to solve in 65 minutes. Okay. Now, the way the GMAT algorithm works, okay, and I want you to kind of understand how the GMAT algorithm works. So, do you know in quant and verbal, how many questions do we have? We have 31 questions and 36 questions, correct? So, totally, there are about 67 questions. But the interesting thing over here is about 3 questions in quant, okay, and as many as 7 questions in verbal, right, are what are considered as experimental questions. These are experimental questions. What are these experimental questions? Now, it is important for us to understand that GMAT is a standard test. It's a standardized test. What is the meaning of standardized test? The meaning of standardized test is it is going to accurately measure you with a deviation of plus minus 29 points. Okay, the screen froze. Let me, is the screen looking, are you able to see the screen? I hope you are able to see the screen. Okay, good. So what it is able to do is it is able to achieve this level of precision. Okay, a standard deviation of 29 points. What it means is on Monday, if you take the test and score 670, on Wednesday, you will either score 700 or 640. Correct? That is the level of precision, and that they are able to achieve using only 57 questions. Have you ever wondered? 57 questions is used to plot 61 different 61 different scores all the way from 200 to 800. Correct? And the way it does this precision is, I told you about this experimental questions, right? See, I'll tell you what GMAT does. So GMAT essentially has data about the way you are solving, right? So think about it. They are doing a lot of analytics on the tests that you are taking. So what they do is they give a bunch of experimental questions in an actual test. Now there are two things that they get to know about that. They get to know what was this person able to eventually score. The second thing they are able to get is they are able to get whether he got the question right or not. Correct? Now, these questions, right? For example, there is a question, and 20%, okay, of people who scored, let's say, 500 got it right. 25% of people who scored 550 got it right. Okay. 70% of people who score, let's say, 600 get it right. 75% of people who score 650 get it right. So let us say that this is how it looks. Okay, this is how it looks. I know I'm making it up a slightly imaginary graph. Now, what they do is they know that this is the range when this question will be most effective. When another student who is taking the GMAT, when it actually becomes a real question, when it is included in the real GMAT, you know where it will be asked? It will be asked somewhere between this 550 to 600 range. Okay. Are all of you getting a hang of how these questions are created? Yes. Whatever you are seeing on the screen, let me know in the chat window, right? So now all of you know about the fact that GMAT also has what is called as the adaptive algorithm, correct? Now, what is this adaptive algorithm? So let me explain to you, right? So let us say I'm going to pick two names, Arpita and Keval. By the way, Arpita, if you can pick all panelists and attendees. So let us say if both of them are taking the test, all right? Now, what GMAT basically says is that think of these ranges as different buckets, correct? So there is a bucket of questions from 600 to 650, 650 to 700, 700 to 750, 750 to 800. Let's imagine 4 such buckets of questions, all right? You understood how a bucket is created, right? So through the experimental question, this is the question that people scoring 600 are more likely to get right. People scoring 550 are less likely to get right. Okay. Now, both Arpita and Keval start off on the same bucket. Now, the rule says that if you get less than 40% accuracy, you will be demoted to a lower bucket. If you get anywhere between 40 to 60% of the questions right, you will be promoted to the next bucket. Sorry, you will be in the same bucket. But if you get more than 60% of the questions right, you will be promoted to the next bucket. All right. Now, what will happen is, let's say that we are looking at verbal. Okay. So let me just maybe write it in a tabular format. So Arpita and so what I will do is I'll just give you a sense of, let's say, the first set of 6 questions. Okay. Arpita gets 4 and Keval gets 3. I hope you don't mind, Keval. I'm just giving an example. Okay. So Arpita gets 4 out of 6. So that is 2 out of 3. So 2 out of 3 means 66%, which means greater than 60%. So what happens to Arpita? She moves on to the next bucket. Keval gets 50% of them correct. So he remains in. So GMAT is constantly going to be giving questions of this level of difficulty. Okay. Now, what happens is I get a string of 8 questions. And in this also, Keval is, at 4 out of 8, which means he remains at the same bucket. Whereas Arpita gets 6 out of 8, which is 3 by 4, which is 75%, which means she moves on to the next bucket. Then the string becomes, let's say, 10 questions. Here again, Keval gets 5 of them right, and Arpita gets 6 of them right. So Arpita moves on to the final bucket. She is in this bucket now, correct? Whereas Keval is currently still at 600 to 650 bucket, right? Now, how many questions are remaining? If you are in verbal, 12 questions remaining. Now, in the last 12 questions, let us assume that both of them get same number of questions right. Okay. Let us look at how many questions did both of them get. How many questions did Arpita get? Can you do the calculation for me? I can do it, but I want you to do it. 22. Okay. And what is the score for Keval? 18. Now, question to you, the difference is only 4. Difference is only 4. Correct? So, how come the score is, let's say, difference between 760 and 630? That's why I apologize, Keval. Okay. So, what's the difference between these score when there is only difference of 4 points? Because, correct, because the weightage of different buckets, the difficulty level. See, now I'll tell you what happens. People come to me and say that Arun, my accuracy in such and such, it's X percentage. This is a pointless metric. Did you understand? It does not tell me what bucket you were in. Many a times, what I've realized is that people develop the competence to go to this bucket, but sometimes they never reach the higher bucket. Correct? So on the GMAT, very important that you keep your prep in such a way that you are also exposed to higher order questions. Okay. And you really realize the template, right? What I'm showing you is the template, right? This is one example of a template. Okay. So let me now show you another example of a template. This time I will use critical reasoning. Okay. Do you like puzzles? Do you like to solve puzzles? Critical reasoning is sometimes like solving puzzles. Okay. But it also takes more time. Okay. That's the other thing. It also takes more time. So why don't we do this? Why don't we take this question? Okay, guys, 2 minutes over. This is how much time you would have on the GMAT to solve a question of this difficulty level. All right, so 2.5 minutes over. On an average, the average GMAT test taker, would probably be at least 20-30% lower than whatever results that you see. Which means on the GMAT, this could be a test question that only 15-20% of people would be able to solve. Okay. So this is the question type, right? So I'm just giving you an example. So this is a question type called inference, correct? So what happens in inference is we always need to read what is called as, between the lines. There will always be something. So the 5 specially ordered shipment sent out last week were sent out on Thursday. So now tell me, I'm going to put this as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as the 5 days. Okay. And then it's closed for the weekend, right? So weekend, there is nothing. He says on Thursday, the 5 specially ordered. Can you get any other day specially ordered? No. Why? Because he says the 5 specially ordered were sent out on Thursday, which means specially ordered couldn't have come on any other day. However, does it mean that on Thursday only specially ordered went? No, right? Others could have also gone, no? Not only specially ordered, but you could have also had others also go, right? Now let's look at the second statement. It says last week, all the shipments that were sent out on Friday consisted entirely of building supplies. Now what do we know? We know all the shipment consisted entirely. Does not mean that, so it means building supplies went on Friday. But it only means that on Friday only building supplies went. But building supplies could have gone on any other day also. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday also. Correct? He's just saying that one sent on Friday consisted entirely, but other days it could have been sent as well. Now it says 4 shipments were sent to Truax Construction last week, only 3 of which consisted of building supplies. So 4 shipments were sent, out of which 3 were building supplies and 1 was whatever else, correct? If the shipping clerk statements are true, which of the following, remember, inference means must also be true, correct? 100% I should be able to prove from this data that this answer choice, whatever answer choice, should be correct. At least one of the shipments sent to Truax was specially ordered. Why? He says 3 were building supplies and 1 was something else. It could have happened any day, no? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. At least one of it did not consist of building supplies. Why? Specially ordered could be building supplies, right? Correct. So it's not necessary that specially ordered could not consist of building supplies. So specially ordered could be building supplies also. At least one of the, you see, building supplies and specially ordered are different things, different categories, right? Building supplies talk about the type of material, specially ordered is the configuration, so to speak. Answer option C says at least one of the shipments sent to Truax was not sent out on Thursday of last week. No, it could have been sent on Thursday last week. Just because it had 5 specially ordered, we don't know, correct? That what was the 4th shipment, plus it could have been over and above that also. D says at least one of the shipments that were sent out on Friday last week was sent to Truax. Why? Because of the building supplies. No, this is not something that must be true. Correct? It may be true, but it's not must be true that one of the shipment must have been sent on Friday. But let's look at the right answer choice E. It says at least one of the shipments sent to Truax last week was sent out before Friday. Correct? Because 3 were building supplies, 1 was not building supplies, which means it had to be sent before Friday, because Friday we know only building supplies were sent. Now, question to you, do you think you would have been able to do it in under 2 minutes on the GMAT? By the way, what I'm showing to you is actual GMAT question, right? So do you feel you could have done it? Yes, no, whatever you think, maybe. Anything you can let me know in the chat window. Maybe, no, okay, yes, okay. So the idea is, do you realize this was a question that appeared on the GMAT, correct? So this appeared to someone on the screen when they were taking the GMAT. Now what I want you to do is I'm going to give you one more question. This is also an official question. Okay, it's also an official question, and this time let us see if we are able to get the question any faster. Okay, guys, 2 minutes are over. So on the GMAT, typically this is a question you should be able to solve by this time. Two and a half minutes now. Get stuff. A lot of you don't mark. So if you had those who did not mark, if they ended up marking, chances are they would have picked the wrong answer choice. So Abhishek, to go back to your question, whatever you see here is actually a skewed score, correct? Even without that, correct? Now, Vedant, please pick all panelists and attendees. How many of you thought it is the same question? It is not the same question, correct? So it says, again, I'm going to do the same thing, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, correct? What is he saying? No shipments. So there was no building supplies sent on Friday, correct? Then he says that the 5 specially ordered were sent out on Thursday, the 5 specially ordered, which happened to be, each of those happened to be consisting entirely of building supplies. So the 5 specially ordered were all building supplies, correct? 4 shipments were sent, none of which was building supplies. 4 sent, none of which was building supplies, correct? So couldn't have been sent on Friday. That is 100% true answer. Or let's see if, or rather, could have been sent on Friday is one way to look at it. Could have been sent, right? I'll show you the poll result. Okay. So all of Comcorp shipments were specially ordered. All were specially ordered. So it is not giving you data about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? So it is giving you partial data. We have to figure out something that must also be true. We don't know about the other days, correct? Answer option B says none of Comcorp shipments sent on Friday of last week was sent to Truax. No, this is the opposite. In fact, there is a chance that it was sent to Truax because Truax did not have building supplies, and you told on Friday they didn't have building supplies. None of the shipments sent by Comcart to Truax was specially ordered. Okay, So the 5 which was specially ordered were all building supplies, which means they couldn't have been ordered by Truax. So true, right? So let me look at the none of Comcard shipment sent on Thursday of last week was sent to Truax. So it says the 5 specially ordered sent out on Thursday, correct? But apart from that, there could be other orders that also could have gone on Thursday. No, that is what we saw from the previous. It says were sent out on Thursday. Doesn't mean that that is the only thing that was sent out on Thursday. Correct? So could have been possible. All of Comcord's shipments were sent out on Thursday. No, we don't have data about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 100% I can tell you that none of the shipment was specially ordered. Are all of you able to hear my voice? Please let me know in the chat window. It just otherwise will break the flow if one of you is typing and the others. Can you just put it on all panelists and attendees, please? Rachel, can you just maybe help me over here? Yeah, so if something happens like that, would it be okay if we quickly respond saying that it's fine so that, and I was requesting others so that we don't, stall, correct? Now, what I'm trying to say is that on the GMAT, you realize you have to get this template in your head. That is what is really going to happen over here, correct? There are very standardized things that are getting tested. I hope you're getting the point. You're not studying for English or maths, right? You're studying for learning a particular skill, right? And if you look at it, when I say it's a skill, what I mean is it's a skill that also is about how smartly you're able to approach a question, correct? So GMAT is also about being smart. It's also about figuring out how to use elimination, correct? It's about observing small things in the question. It is about understanding that all the questions are designed to be solved in under 2 minutes. Okay, on quant, right? Because there is a certain logic to it, right? So if you think that you are taking forever to solve a question, chances are you're solving it in the wrong way. Correct? So what I'm going to do is, are you ready for a quant question? Let me know with a yes in the chat window, guys. I don't see a lot of activity in the chat. So just let me know, chat and type in a yes. Okay. So quant, right? So this time I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Okay. 2 minutes for this quant question. Okay, so we are about 1.5 minutes into that question. At this point, if on GMAT you are not able to figure out the right answer choice, if you're struggling, would it be a wise idea for you to go ahead and guess, or do you think you should persevere for more time? Yeah. So those of you who have not been able to guess it, guys, 2 minutes are already over. On the GMAT, at this point, think of it as a gun on your head. You have to guess and move on. So why don't you just go and pick your favorite letter among A to E and mark an answer and move on. Let's do that. Some of you still remaining. Just go ahead and pick whatever you think. Inky, pinky, ponky, right? Just do that to humor me because we will see the results and I will show you how interesting it reflects on the results. Correct? Vedant, there is no such logic, right? You can pick any answer choice. The only important thing is you pick the right answer choice or you pick one answer choice before you get into the test. Guys, few of you still remaining in case you want to mark. Otherwise, let me just very clearly looking at the results, I see 55% of you got it. 45% of you have made a guess. I can tell for sure people who chose C or D have guessed on this answer. Yes? Agree? I mean, let's admit it, okay? Now, I want you to think about it. Those of you guessed it, I want you to think about it. How many of you were calculating the whole zigzag movement? Anybody was doing that? And somewhere you kind of got confused and it became like way too much for you, right? Correct? Yeah. However, right? So the smart people are answering it already, right? But if you look at it, just give me a second. Anyone who was not able to answer it, correct? Just look at the clue here, right? We are going from A to B, right? The train is going at 40 kilometers per hour. And what is the distance between A and B? It is 200 kilometers. It's given to us. First of all, do you realize what an illogical answer option A is? Correct? It cannot be 200 because the bird though flies and then flies back also. No, it has to be more than 200. Correct? Now think about it. The bird is flying. How long will the train take to reach B? Can someone tell me? At 40 kilometers per hour, how long would it take to reach 200 kilometers? How long? 5 kilometers? Sorry, 5 hours? Correct? Now tell me, at 60 kilometers per hour, whether it's flying this side or that side doesn't matter. If 60 kilometers per hour, if it ends up flying for 5 hours, how many kilometers will it travel? 300. Right? Now tell me, if I were to go and tell you that, boss, this is the formula. Speed is equal to distance upon time. This is not going to help you. R.S. Agarwal is not going to help you at this point. I hope all of you are getting a sense of what I'm trying to say here, correct? So GMAT is expecting you to apply the knowledge very effectively, correct? So that's the thing that we need to learn, that GMAT is also about how you are able to look for clues in the answer options, right? How we are able to detect certain things that so what I'm going to do now is let me give you two examples from sentence correction. Would you like to solve some more questions? Yes, no. We are at about 8:25, but I just wanted to check if you want a couple of questions to go. Just two yes. Okay. Four yes, still not enough. I'm waiting for at least a few more of you to this. Okay, some of you think it's enough. I just wanted to check on that. Let me do this. Let me give you two questions. Okay. How about this? Do you want to solve a real good what will happen in application of rules in sentence correction? Do you want to see an example? Okay, so why don't we take this question? It's a sentence correction question. All right. This is the last question I have for you. Can't see the question? I'm able to see the question. The question hasn't changed. Okay. Okay, so about 90 seconds over. Okay, so 2 minutes over, guys. Please go ahead. Those who have not voted, can you please go ahead and mark your answer? I mean, whatever you feel at this point, right? I mean, I'm going to be ending the poll. So if we get like all of you responding, we'll be able to get a good sense of whether this is. By the way, do you think it's an easy question? What do you think? Not only, but also, okay, wonderful. Very easy, very easy. So Rajat, Abhishek, Keval, Elora, I'm going to come and come back. Okay, Aditya thinks maybe not so easy. All right. So I'm going to be ending the poll last 3 seconds. So guys sitting on the fence, go ahead and give me your answer. 3, 2, 1, and over. So question to you, okay, is this is the easy question. If it is an easy question, then the answer should not be distributed. Do you see the distribution? 40%, 35%, 20%. Correct? Right. So here is the first rule. In fact, those of, in my sentence correction class, this is what I start off with, which is don't use idioms. Because idioms can come back to bite you. Okay, I'll show you why. When I say not only rich, but also handsome, can I say two positives? Can I have two positives? Yes. Or I can have two negatives also. Not only was he very evil, but also very, I don't know, ugly. Correct? Two negatives. But can I say he was not only very rich, but also very ugly? Or can I say he was not only very evil, but also very handsome? No, right? You can't have one positive and one negative. Now look at it. progressive clearing of the jungles create farmlands and gave residents comparatively cheap houses and furniture. What is it? It's a positive. But also caused soil quality depletion and turned whole. What is this? This is negative. So positive and negative cannot be used with not only but also answer option A, B, and E go off. Correct? And between the two answer options that are remaining, very clearly answer option C does not even have a verb, whereas the correct answer choice says the progressive clearing blah 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 blah. Okay, so this thing it says created and gave. Okay, so this is a concept in parallelism. You look at the ununderlined part. The clue is always in the ununderlined part. Caused and turned. What is the construction here? X, but also Y. For example, I could say going on vacation these days is a very de-stressing experience, but also a very risky one. Taking a vacation, okay, taking a vacation is a very enjoyable experience, very enjoyable, but also very risky. Can I say that? What am I doing now? I'm giving you one positive, one negative. Enjoyable is positive, risky is negative, right? So the structure that you actually need is what we have in D, which is but also, correct? There is a positive, but also on the other hand, there is a negative. Did all of you understood this? Devi Nigam? Okay. So why I wanted to give you this was I wanted you to understand that GMAT is going to have certain things. See, a lot of times what happens, we go for these roles, we think it's a bunch of rules that I have to by heart. If it is a bunch of rules that you have to by heart, then you should have gotten this question and this question, right? But it is not about rules. It is about application of those rules, correct? So, and to be honest, if you ask me, what GMAT is doing is it is really testing your real life skills. So, if on the chat window, can you tell me what is your post MBA goal? What do you want to do post MBA? Any career paths that you're looking at? Anyone wants to be a consultant? Product manager, excellent. Operations. So again, operations, you're going to be in operations, supply chain management, right? Consulting, product management, consultant, very good. Go where money is more. Okay, so let me give you investment banking or venture capitalist, private equity, correct? Let me tell you, any of these roles that you're going to go, what are the skills required? First, you will be required to read a lot. Do you agree? You have to read a lot, but you need to get to the gist of it. And if your boss were to come and ask you a question, you need to know where to go back. What is this? This is nothing but reading comprehension. But whatever you read, you also have to analyze it. That is what you're given, that's why you're paid the big bucks, correct? You're going to be asked to critique something. You are going to be said, if this new information comes, is it going to help me, hurt me, correct? What are the conjectures over here? What are the things that we can infer from here? All of this is nothing but critical reasoning. And when you go and present your thoughts in a clear and concise way to your management using words, they want to make sure that this guy is not going to confuse anyone. So what they are looking at, they are looking at sentence correction. And they want someone who's very nimble with the way he is able to put all numbers together. What is that? That is nothing but quant. So trust me, a lot of GMAT that you're learning, these are all real world skills that actually, kind of get tested. Okay. And if you ask me, Do you know what is one of the biggest things that is required in today's world? And I have to also say that you've been in this webinar for about close to an hour, and that tells me that a lot of you are focused. Because the biggest commodity today is actually your ability to stay focused. Would you agree? It is so damn hard, man. You have work, you have other things, you have Netflix calling you, right? And in all of this, you are expected to study, and that is also another skill that B schools are testing, right? So B schools really want to see whether you have the dedication, drive, and motivation to put in the long hours that is going to be required of you in a B school, correct? Apart from the fact that you are already smart, correct? So your ability to plan, your ability to stay focused for 3 months is as important for scoring high on the GMAT as it is for you to solve questions. The reason why most people end up giving up is because they don't persevere long enough. And you have to persevere long enough if you want to get all of these, right? These are all templates, correct? Eventually, you need to be solving official questions, right, in order to have a sense of what GMAT is testing. It is the official questions, the retired GMAT questions that are going to lend you an insight into what are these templates, right? What are these kind of patterns that I should be observing on the GMAT? Because remember what I told you, GMAT is not a test of maths or English. If that were to be the case, your high school grammar teacher would be at Harvard Business School, right? It doesn't work that way. So very important that for you to stay focused, you need to have a goal. So my suggestion is have a goal, have a study plan. Without a study plan, if you're just going to be picking a bunch of questions from GMAT Club every day and solving, that is not going to be a solution. Make sure you pick a specific time to study. You could be a early morning person, you could be a late night person, whatever your time be, make sure you are picking a time where you are comfortable studying. At least I would say start with 1 hour, then go to 2, 3 hours, correct? Start with 1 hour, start with half an hour, correct? Have an accountability partner, have someone with whom you can do the prep. Because it's a 3 month journey, you need that, someone who can help you stay motivated. And also create a schedule with necessary breaks. For example, in December end, you know that it is going to be, a festive season. Don't punish yourself by saying that I have to take the GMAT then, correct? You can very well plan it in such a way that you can even start it in January. Correct. So that's what I wanted to kind of say that, if I were to have a study plan, this is how. So, for example, I'm showing you an example of how a sample study plan at Crack Football looks like. So, what we do is we essentially have the videos and the questions that you need to be solving during the week. Correct. So what happens is every day you know exactly what you need to be solving, right? What are the videos that you need to be solving? What are the questions that you need to solve? And if you are signing up for the live program, you also have the live sessions over the weekend. What are these live sessions? These live sessions are nothing but, for example, we have a schedule with about 7 sessions in sentence correction, with about 5 in critical reasoning, 4 in reading comprehension, 5 sessions in arithmetic. Um, this is more of modern maths, which include set theory, permutation, combination, all of that. We have 4 sessions on algebra, inequalities, so on, and 4 sessions on geometry. Correct. So what happens is that we also have 2 bonus sessions on MBA and GMAT strategy. Correct. So what happens is this becomes your weekend. So the plan that we give you will be basically a 2 month plan. In this 2 months, okay, we will break up the official, we'll be giving like, suggesting the official guide, correct? So within the official guide, as and when we are doing a particular topic, we will say, watch the videos for this particular topic. After that, solve these n number of questions. So what happens is you learn the theory, you solve the question. That's really how you're able to maintain momentum. So the idea is that if you are committed and you enter at this point, you basically will end up coming out at this point where you would have gone through the session. So roughly speaking, we are looking at about 20 sessions of verbal and 20 sessions of quant. This would be spread across 10 weekends, right? So if you're taking quant and verbal, it will be 20 weekends. If you take both together, it would be about 2.5 months or about 10 weekends. All right. So that's what I wanted to kind of leave you with. So in case you're interested to join me, I have sessions starting, I think tomorrow day or the next weekend. But please, maybe Rachel, you can share the link over here. So you can check out our live at home. But I also wanted to tell you that we have some things special coming up. It's a video series that I've been working on for the last week or so, and I'm really excited about it. So in case you are looking at that, please go ahead and click on what Rachel has picked. So Rajat, the idea is that that's something that you'll have to figure out what is the best thing that works. I would say taking a full-length GMAT test would be the best way to assess where you are. Correct. So the exam pack that you have has. So Rajat, you are going exactly against the advice I gave you, right? So what did I tell you about accuracy being an incorrect metric? Right? Accuracy is an incorrect metric. I don't know whether your scientific 80% is at a 300 level question or at a 750 level question. Correct? And the only way you're going to get to know this is by taking a full length GMAT test. Correct? Have you taken a full length GMAT test? Do you know your scores? That's what I would kind of want you to think about. If you have not taken a test, my suggestion is to take the exam pack, right? So take the exam pack test, right? Exam pack 1 and 2 are available that you can download freely. Go ahead, take the test. That's the best way for you to judge yourself. All right. Great. So guys, I just wanted to solve some questions with you. I hope you found this webinar useful, whatever I had to share with you. I hope this also gave you an insight into what the GMAT is about. Thanks everyone else who came in today, joined us. I hope to see you sometime soon.